Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Agony and beep, 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 beep. So let's jump into this. Today's story is absolutely wild. If you're going to take anything away from today's story, I want you guys to be inspired by the level of audacity the writer has. Just the straight up CBT. I need you to walk away from today's episode and tell yourself, you know what? If he can, then so can I. You know what I mean? Name it, claim it, frame it. Anyway, let me not give away too much. Let's get started. Alrighty, so let's get into today's story. Am I the asshole for demanding my wife apologizes for lying to me? From that title alone, I'm gonna say no. You're not the asshole because, you know what I mean? Apologizing is like the first step to repairing a situation. You know what I mean? Like if you don't acknowledge what you've done, then how can you ever learn? Okay, but let's see. This is a bit of a long one. So who knows? I might be wrong. Okay, so next month is exactly 2 years since I, 31, married my wife, Lynn, 30. I came from a not so well off family. Lynn, on the other hand, comes from a rich family. I must admit, she has helped me a lot in the past. 2 weeks to our wedding, her father gave us a house and a huge sum of money, like in the millions of dollars. Wow. I need to marry Lynn. If this situation doesn't work out with the person who's posting, Lynn, hit me up, girl. I'll take good care of you. Okay, anyway. Lynn is an only child. I didn't know about the money. I was shocked but grateful. A week after we got married, the money was supposed to be transferred to us. We also found out that Lynn is pregnant. We spoke and decided that the money should be transferred to my account as I will be managing our finances so that Lynn can focus on the home and baby. It was a joint decision and she was happy with it. Lynn asked me the plans I had for the money. I told her the first thing I will do is give a sum to my mother to boost her shop, my older brother who is unemployed and set a trust for my kid's sister in high school. Hold up. Let me read that again. Lynn asked me the plans I had for the money. I told her the first thing I will do is give a sum to my mother to boost her shop, my brother who is unemployed, and set a trust for my kid sister in high school. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me keep reading. I want to sort out my family and stepsisters so we can enjoy our money in peace without they bothering us. Time passed and the money never came. Month after month, I asked Lynn and she told me her dad said next month. Every month she had a different excuse. I asked her to talk to her father. She said at least we got the house. Before the marriage, she had helped a lot. She had helped a lot financially, and she also changed and just started doing only what was required. I must admit I was a little upset with her. 2 months ago, we fought and she told me in the heat of the anger that the promise of the money was a lie she fabricated. I was so upset and left home for a month. I went back with divorce papers. What the hell? Couldn't believe she would lie to me. Last week, I met her dad when he returned from Italy. We spoke as he wanted to know why we were divorcing and plans for our son and second baby since Lynn is currently pregnant. Oh my gosh. Your wife is pregnant, fam, and you're pulling these stunts? Okay. All right, where was I? Even lost my place. I told him about the lie. I found out that Lynn told her father to hold on to the transfer as we wanted to start life on our own. Lynn practically got herself broke. I went to confront Lynn and she told me that I was planning to use her money to enrich my family and never even ask her if she had plans. She said it was her money and I couldn't even take her to dinner first or buy the baby clothes before sharing it with my family. I tried to explain to her that my family is poor and needy and sorting them out will give us peace of mind, but she won't listen. I'm very upset she lied to me twice and acted petty when I was seeking the best for us. She saw my frustrated and she had the money, yet she didn't say anything. I asked her to apologize and ask her dad to transfer the money or I will not forgive her and continue with divorce proceedings. She said I'm not getting a cent from her and her bank account can testify to that so I can go. I feel she played me for 2 years. Am I the asshole to be upset and to demand an apology? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes, bitch. You're the asshole. You're definitely the asshole. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? You know what I mean? Like, I can understand not wanting your family to be dependent on you. You know what I mean? Like, I understand black tax. It's a hectic thing, and I'm not saying that this person is black, right? But that's sort of, in the context that I live in, that's what it is to me. And like, constantly being beholden to your family and you can't just leave your people behind, that you've come into some money and whatever, but you didn't earn the money. You know what I mean? And it's a gift from her father to your union. It's not money that you won in the lotto. It's not your money at all. Do you get what I mean? So like the level of entitlement and to be like, well, my mom, my stepbrother who's unemployed, why is your brother unemployed? You know what I mean? Like, and set up a trust for the sister and water and water. Like, no, fam, no, that's not on. I'm not saying, like, screw your family and do your own thing, but I definitely side with the wife here in the sense that, like, nowhere on that list of things has it anything to do with the child. Why not set up a trust for the child that you have? Like, yes, they have rich parents and whatever, or rich grandparents who will most likely provide for them, but like, also, don't you get tired of being a leech the whole time? Aren't you tired of always having to ask for other people to back you financially? Don't you want to stand on your own 2 feet? So yes, you guys have been given this leg up, but then like, use the money to enrich yourselves, to be like, okay, babes, how about we start a business? You know what I mean? And then with that business, then you can maybe employ this unemployed brother of yours. You know what I mean? Then maybe you can sort of supply certain materials and stuff at a cheaper cost to your mom and whatever her business is. You know what I mean? So still support them, but support them in a way that they can also stand on their own 2 feet. It's like you're just wanting handout after handout after handout, and you're not actually looking to uplift yourself or stand on your own 2 feet. And I'm not saying that it's sort of like easy, you know what I mean? That people are poor because they're lazy. I'm not saying that at all. But if you're in a position that you've been given a couple of millions, make that money last. Don't just now throw it at people who've never had to handle that amount of money for a long time. You're setting them up to fail if you just start dropping money in people's laps. Rather, use the money to still set yourself up and your family up and, make sure that your unit is okay. So, because your girlfriend also in the story that she's in the lie that she told her father, was making a point that you guys do have to stand on your own 2 feet and make your own way, and you can appreciate the gift and use that to make sure that you never have to go back to them to ask for money. That as a unit, you guys work well, and that you can manage your shit properly and make shit grow. You know what I mean? That you can multiply that money, invest it wherever, you know what I mean? Like, buy a bunch of rental properties and have, that money come in, or whatever. You know what I mean? That could be what your wife occupies herself with, is by being, a landlord, and, dealing with all of that, where it's not that stressful. You know what I mean? It's something that she can do from home, take care of the kids, respond to a few emails, and just send plumbers and whatever if there's ever an issue. You know what I mean? Like, just something chilled. But you have these investment properties where there's some sort of passive income or something along those lines. Do you get what I mean? I don't know. I'm not a finance bro, but what I am gonna say is that, like, there was a different way of tackling this, without sort of just showing that you're a greedy, entitled individual. This money was never yours in the first place. No one owes you this money at all. And people are well within their rights to change their mind if they decide that they no longer want to gift you something because you are no longer fit for it. And you can't then turn around and say, hey, you owe me, you need to pay me right now. Like, no, you're not entitled to that money. And then to threaten to divorce your wife because they're not giving you the money, like, what's happening here? What's happening here? Because now you're, as much as you're saying that you wanted to set your family up so that they never have to ask you for money and never have to bother you, you're now becoming the bother. You're the one who's crawling up her crevices, demanding money that doesn't belong to you. Like, yes, when you get married, what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine. But no, girl. Not like that. Because now you want to dig into my dad's wallet because it's not her money either. Do you get what I mean? Like, this money does not belong to either one of them. She might have more of a right to it because she's an only child, and that when they die, she'll be the only one left to inherit their wealth. But she's not entitled to it. Should they decide to bequeath, all their assets and all their money to some organization, or, a stray cat that they really liked on, one of their trips, they could also do that. And then what? Do you get what I mean? So the fact that he's hedging his bets on this money, like, I can definitely understand how you might have gotten really excited at the prospect of having that much money and all the things that you wanted to do with it. But once you see that the money's not coming, you move on, you let go. You know what I mean? Like, jeez. I'm low-key very disgusted by this story. Just because, like, do you have no shame? Do you have no pride in, like, you know what I mean? Like, really? So is this why you married her? Because then that becomes my question. Did you marry her because she was rich and because she was helping you out financially? Because she was helping you out before, right? Before you guys got married, she was helping you out big time. So did you just marry her because you wanted, to lock down the golden goose? Was that it? That you never actually loved her, and now that you see that she's holding out on some big stacks, you're just like, fuck this shit? Ew. I'm actually very, very disgusted. I cannot believe the audacity on this man to threaten to divorce his wife just because she felt like she didn't approve of his plan with the monies. I don't approve of his plan either. I'm all for family and all of that shit, but it's not your money. It should have been a discussion in the same way that the two of you discussed that he would be the one managing the finances. And I don't even think if it really was a mutual decision or if he strong-armed his way into that position, because, I mean, managing the finances of a family is not a full-time job. You know what I mean? You decide, let's say in the beginning of the month, this is how much we're going to use, and then you're done with that. Like, how would that affect her life in such a major way that it would inhibit her from being able to mother her child as well? And then you pull all of these stunts while she's pregnant as well. You're going to divorce your pregnant wife because her dad didn't give you some pocket money. And I know millions is not pocket money. I do some strange things for some money right now for those millions. But then I'm again still willing to do something in exchange for it. This money was just being handed out willy-nilly, and then it wasn't being handed out anymore. So then you figure out your own way to get that money. Do you not have a job? Are you not saving your money? Like, oh, had he already gone to his family members and had promised them stacks and made huge ass promises that he now cannot fulfill, and now he's climbing down his wife's throat because they're on his back about, well, where's the money that you promised? And this is the thing. This is the thing. Because this is also how people stay poor. Do you get what I mean? When you have poor financial management, where the smart choice would have been like, we appreciate you donating this money to us, but please give us a second. Don't send it to us immediately. We want to sit and create a plan, to make sure that we use that money wisely for the betterment of our relationship, for our lives and the longevity of the situation that we're in, like all of that. You know what I mean? Like, it's ugh. This is just, it's giving me major ick vibes. And I think it's giving me major ick vibes because I've dated people who needed financial support. You know what I mean? And as much as like I don't mind holding a person down, maybe on occasion, I don't know, like I'm not a huge fan of struggle love. And I guess I have a bit of an avoidant attachment style. So like I always have one foot out of the door. But in general, like if you need a couple handies here or whatever, for something, I don't know, like you need electricity or something like that, then like sure, I don't mind, but it's when now you start, interacting with me like I owe you money. And there's actually a guy that I dated who shall not be named, and I won't say where he works because it'll be very obvious. But for someone of his like academic achievements and for where he was working as well, it honestly baffled me that this person like couldn't foresee that they were not going to have money at the end of the month. Do you get what I mean? Like, when you're like spending ridiculously and you're just like, damn, it's going to be me and some noodles for the rest of the month. And you kind of mentally prepare yourself for that, or you accept that fate in exchange for, this impulse buy. And you might regret it later on, but like, your situation. You know what I mean? Whereas for him, that didn't seem to be the case. Like, he would be like blasting my phone in the middle of my workday. Like, I'm in meetings and stuff, and he's just calling incessantly, and there's messages like whatever. And then I'd like try and answer the call quickly, you know what I mean, between meetings or something, and he'd be like, read my text. And like, I'll open my WhatsApp to check the text, and he's just like, please send me money for lunch. Like, I don't have any money for lunch. Send me lunch money. And I'm like, I'm not against the concept of sending lunch money, but surely you knew yesterday that you didn't have money for lunch today. You know what I mean? Unless some emergency happened between yesterday evening and today lunchtime, your financial situation, you only have enough to travel to and back from work, that there's no money for lunch. Right? That's a big assumption that I'm making, but like, if you know that, then why not then communicate to me like in the evening, as we're chatting and talking about our days and whatever, like, hey, actually, things are looking really like really tight right now, and I'd appreciate it if you, like, you sent me a little bit of cash, so that your mans can eat or do whatever. And I'd be like more willing to do that than you now climbing down my throat trying to pressure me into a yes, because now I don't actually have the time to consider my own finances and to see if I can live without this, money for the rest of the month, right? Because we're all trying to manage our own things here. So, yeah, I don't know why I was telling the story. Oh, yeah, because he was an asshole, and he felt like because we were dating, that somehow there was no room for me to say no, right? That when he asked for something, it was more so like he was just being polite in telling me to give him something that was mine. You know what I mean? And I work for my salary. I work for my munties. They are mine. Same thing of like just assuming that I have to pick you up because I have a car and you don't have a car. Therefore, I must drive out of my way to go pick you up, to go do something. You know what I mean? Like, no, how about you travel to me and then we can travel together? If I'm going to pass your place on the way, sure, then maybe I'll consider picking you up. But not for now. You feel entitled to my vehicle, to my services, to my anything, just because we're attached to each other in some way. You know what I mean? And it's the audacity. It's the audacity for me that is just, ugh. Woo! I don't know why I'm all fired up, but this has really pissed me off. I cannot believe that some people really have the gall, the absolute gall to do this. This person, honestly, I feel sorry for the fact that they have kids together, because Lynn needs a clean break from this person. She needs him out of her life, because this man never loved her. Never loved her, was only there for the money, was only there because she was financially supporting him. And the fact that she's now stopped doing that and now he's upset only proves that point, that he was only ever interested in her money. And he thought that by marrying her, that he would then, have access to the main line. And instead of getting drips and drabs from her, that he could, just dive into the well. And that hasn't happened, and he's not happy about it. And now he wants to divorce her. Imagine, after that one argument, he left the house for a month. And that time she's pregnant. I can understand maybe like a day or two being so upset, right? Maybe even a day or two is a bit much for me. Like a day, where you're just like, okay, this argument is getting heated and like I'm really upset. I just need a minute to like gather my thoughts. You know what I mean? And just be like, okay, cool. I was excited about the money and I had high hopes for it. There were certain things that I thought that, we could do. And I really thought that like I could, get my family. It would be a great opportunity to get my family out of a bind. You know what I mean? So that we don't have to spend the rest of our lives, taking care of them and having to like support them and stuff, because it can sort of feel like a burden. Sorry, it can kind of feel like a burden. So, I thought that like, we'd have an opportunity to free that burden, off us. And then she says, well, nowhere on your list was anything to do with the main niggas here, like the family that you have to deal with now. Like we were not on your plans and I felt left out. You know what I mean? Like you can have like a super calm conversation where she's able to express her feelings, you express yours, and you can say like, I genuinely thought that my plan was for the best, But I can see now how I've hurt you, because I assume that we had the rest of our lives to go to dinners and to buy the baby things, and that obviously that treating you to things went without saying. That those things were also included in the budget. They just weren't things that I thought were worth mentioning because they were obvious things to do. And that only maybe 10% of the money your dad was going to give us was going to go to my family, actually. But the rest was for us, obviously. This money was given to us, it wasn't for them. I just thought it would be a great way to get them off our backs, you know? Like simple. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Even I'd, fucks with that argument and be like, oh yeah, okay, cool. I overreacted. And I'm so sorry. I should have shared how I was feeling with you instead of, making these decisions behind your back. And I guess, for future reference, don't assume that things go without saying. When I'm asking for your plan, give me the whole plan, Um, yeah. And then we can move on all hunky dory. But like, this being grounds for divorce, wow. Wow. And not to sort of sound like a man hater, because I really am not, and I'm trying very hard not to find myself, you know, stewing in that energy all the time. But it is sort of quite sad, you know what I mean? That like this one inconvenience and he's ready to get a divorce. But I've seen many people in my life, right, stick around through actual serious bullshit. You know what I mean? Like actual serious bullshit. And they would stick around still giving their partner the benefit of the doubt, still sort of saying, well, yeah, nobody's perfect and I can see things from their perspective, and really doing some crazy mental gymnastics to justify the behavior that their partners are displaying and stuff like that, and to justify to themselves why it is a good idea for them to stay or whatever. And yeah, so these women are doing the most to stay in the relationship, to, support their partners because they're actually committed. And then you'll see guys, where like, what? You changed your hair color? You've got short hair now? Who the fuck said I like short hair bitches? Now you look like a man. I'm not gay. I want a divorce. You know what I mean? Like dumb shit like that. And I know there are also many stories of men who have sat through a whole bunch of nonsense from their wives, because they just hoped that things would get better at some point. But I think the point of all of this is to say that if you really take your vows seriously, and if you went into your marriage with pure intentions because you genuinely love the person that you were committing yourself to, that silly things like this wouldn't be a reason for divorce. You know what I mean? That I think sometimes if you truly love someone, the love that you have for them might push you to acquire new skills in order to, make sure that the relationship gets back to a healthy point. Do you get what I mean? That you might not have the tools now, but you love this person enough to do whatever work is necessary to acquire them. And eventually, yes, you will get tired and you will eventually decide to like give up, and say like, I'm doing all the work here by myself and it's unfair and whatever. But at least there's that track record, that your love pushed you to do the best that you can and to do everything that was humanly possible to save this. You know what I mean? So that when you say that, no, the marriage is dead, it really truly is dead because you have done everything to revive it, as opposed to finding someone in their room cuddled under a blanket asleep and not even lingering around long enough to see if the chest rises and falls. You're just like, fuck it. I was expecting to find someone awake singing me a welcome song, and seeing that I'm not seeing that, they must be dead. Let me leave. You know what I mean? Anyway, this has gone on long enough. Damn, this pissed me off. Please let me know if this pissed you off too. Or if you're on this guy's side and you think lying of any kind is wrong and is spiteful, and that the onus was on her to communicate her disappointments and her frustrations, so that they could find a middle ground for her to take the executive decision that he was no longer deserving of the money, was wrong, and that maybe she is being financially abusive in some way, lording this money over him, and maybe using her financial support to entrap him. that could be your perspective. And if that is the case, please share your thoughts below, whether you agree or disagree with me. I'd love to hear what you think about the story. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye. Nahana fela, guys. Nahana fela. Motho wa batho o kwatetse because ha kgone ho ja tjhelete ya ntatao. Imagine. Somebody is angry at me because I'm not dishing out my dad's cash like hotcakes. For those of us who didn't understand the first one. What do you wow? There are no updates on the story, unfortunately. So I guess we'll just leave it at that. Let's just assume he continued being a dick and left her. And homegirl is better for it. Wherever she is, I hope she's happy and living her best life. And I hope the same applies to you too. See you soon.